Oh my God.
Good. Wow, we got the notification, everything. That's awesome.
The meeting is being live streamed. We did it, Josh.
Nice. Well done.
You don't say we're on the cutting edge of technology for nothing, man. Oh, we're live. Say we're on the cut. Okay, we are super live. This is fantastic. Let's get the word out there. Tell all the wonderful people. And great. We're live. We are having a good old time. I think we're off to a wonderful adventure too. So I think we can kind of just get back, we can get into it here, and maybe I can just kind of do a little bit of filler for about 45 seconds so we can get a few folks in here, and I'll start sharing my screen. But maybe in the meantime, we can kind of introduce ourselves. We have two wonderful human beings in this conversation right now. Oh my gosh, Josh, is that a PlayerMint shirt?
It is. Oh yeah.
Dude, where did you get a PlayerMint shirt?
My mom actually made some for me back, I don't know, like 6 months ago, and I've been meaning to get them out to you guys. I've got a few extras, so but they're pretty good. Those are pretty cheap. Cool. It's just, and then
no way, dude, those are so cool.
Logo on the back.
I can't believe we haven't, dude. That's fantastic. Those are so awesome. I can't believe.
I was gonna give you guys some if you came out to NFT NYC, but unfortunately, it was just me back now. Yeah.
Oh goodness. No, we'll get him at CNFT Con.
It looks like Alex is in.
Fantastic. Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Hey, sorry for the delay, guys.
No worries. No worries.
No worries. No, you're coming in at the perfect timing. We're about to jump into the slide deck here, and we're gonna go over some of our fun updates, and then once we do that, I think that the floor is all yours. And of course, if anything comes up during our conversation, our presentation, and you want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into it, we can, of course, can.
Awesome. Fantastic to be here, Aiden. And Josh, let's get to it. Let me see these slides. I know it's not a lot of work that goes into this.
Yeah. The slides. Yeah, we had a fantastic poker night yesterday, and once I got beat out by some real powerful players, I put in a good bit of work into the town hall slides. But anyways, hopping on into it. Hello, everybody, you wonderful humans. This is the PlayerMint team, and some special guests that are going to be talking about a really cool project that we have a really cool event going on with, but we can kind of keep them in the shadows until we want to bring them into the light. But anyways, welcome to PlayerMint Town Hall 19. We haven't done one of these in a little bit, and we thought, hey, why don't we get everything turning back up again, letting the community know what's going on from a development status, because we actually have more information to share, and we can kind of give you a good sense of what's going on with the test net. When are you all going to get to see it? All that sorts of fun stuff. So let's hop right on in. I guess introductions are always helpful. So if the PlayerMint side of things, if we want to introduce ourselves, my name is Aiden Rankin-Williams. I am the co-founder and chief experience officer of PlayerMint. So I like to do a lot of the kind of product and user experience and project management stuff. And then we have another lovely member of the team here.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Josh. You might know me as No Chaser on Discord, and yeah, I'm director of marketing for PlayerMint. Yeah, I've been with the team for pretty much a year now, almost. I mean, we're getting close here. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's been fun so far. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about me, I guess.
Sweet, fantastic. Well, getting on into it, our agenda today is we're going to be covering a wide range of topics. The first one being our MLab stuff. So MLabs are a wonderful development group. So what are the wonderful things that they're getting on into? Then we're going to venture into the land of Project Catalyst updates. We have a couple of proposals in that space that we're really excited about, and we want to make sure that folks know about it. Community events, we've been doing absolutely wonderful stuff. Large in part, all the credit goes towards Josh, who's sitting in this conversation, but then Anthony, who's also just been doing an absolutely fantastic job. He's not part of the call right now, but he's out there in the internet, and he does an absolutely fantastic amount of work to put together these community events and get some sponsors and whatnot. So going over stuff like that. JP, a wonderful community member of ours who's always just super creative and really smart when it comes to coding and putting together the pieces of the puzzle. Has been doing some really cool stuff in mind test that I think is more than worth showing off. And then our special guest will step out of the darkness into the light and give us a little bit of an update about what's going on over at AI Scholars. And he also does some other cool stuff at a great company called Merchify. And so who knows, maybe we'll get a little sneak peek of both of that. But moving on to the actual meat of it, I want to talk about what's going on at MLabs. So basically for the past couple, I want to say probably the past month and a half, we've been really working on getting everything with the testnet all into a stable position. Actually, last month, about a month ago, we were feeling very, very confident within the development progress of the testnet and being able to get out some sort of version to the community that everyone can play around with. Around the same time, or I believe a little bit before that, a big change occurred on the Cardano testnet. And that, as some people may know, is the Vassal hard fork. And so I'll speak a little bit more about the status of what's going on there, but ultimately the long and quick of it is, and you might have seen this in a couple Twitter threads, is that the Vassal hard fork, as much wonderful work as IOG put into it, unfortunately it was shipped with some significant issues that can make it rather hard to deploy something to the testnet environment. And so because of that, we're having to kind of face some of those challenges. So I'll talk about that on the next slide. But in terms of more of the good news, I just had to kind of preface that, that in terms of the good news of that, one of our wonderful developers, he has been able to create or port over from the old testnet to the new hard forked version of the testnet on Vassal, the initialization contract that kind of gets everything off on PlayerMint going. So we've already seen success in kind of porting our contracts over from the pre-Vassal to post-Vassal hard fork of the testnet. And the beauty of that means that once we're all stable on the Vassal testnet and we deploy to mainnet, once the mainnet also hard forks to Vassal, we'll already have all of the proper mechanisms set up so that we don't need to have any downtime, which is also fantastic, kind of the silver lining of the situation. Beyond that, we also have a wonderful wallet connection feature. So for a little bit now, we've had a prototype running of the application. And in this prototype, we have a connection to Nami Wallet where you're able to hit access so that your Nami Wallet can allow you to sign into the website through the approval of balance and address viewing, and of course, request for approval of transactions, so that once we're able to get all of our smart contracts ported from pre-Vassal to post-Vassal, we can have all that fun stuff. And then other than that, I think as you all saw on our Twitter, everything with the Overwolf client is coming along really, really nicely. It's got that nice PlayerMint branding, and it'll look really great when you start up Fortnite, and you'll see this little overlay pop up, and we're getting everything ready with some custom branding and all that fun stuff. And so we'll be sure to keep you all updated. But essentially, I think the big picture with testnet is everything is going pretty nicely, except for the fact that we need to essentially play a game of cat and mouse, trying to figure out, how to properly establish nodes to set up to complete certain tasks, because certain nodes to be certain versions to complete certain things, and other nodes need to be other versions in order to complete other things. And so it's just kind of a whole challenge, especially in the development space. But MLabs is doing a fantastic job of tackling it, and I know the folks over at IOG are putting in a lot of work there too. To speak a little bit more about that kind of hard fork stuff, like I mentioned, there's issues with the nodes. If I recall correctly, there's an issue in regards to when you're interacting with the nodes and you have to input something in the header, that there is a common issues around that. And then I also know that just certain nodes just aren't able to interact with certain transactions or smart contracts, and they just have a hard time of processing them correctly. And then in addition to that, as we all might know, a lot of the ways in which smart contracts are structured on Vassal do change. It makes them a little bit more lean and a little bit less transaction fee heavy, which is fantastic. But at the same time, this means that the actual core infrastructure of how transactions and smart contracts are occurring on the chain is changing. And because of that, you need to update things like the libraries and parameters that your application is kind of pointed towards. And then finally, what we need to do is, and this is kind of the silver lining I brought up earlier, is that once we're all stable in this Vassal kind of testnet, we'll be battle tested and ready to go for once the Vassal hard fork occurs on mainnet. And so once we're on that mainnet, we'll already know that we're compliant and that we're all good to go. So that's kind of the big stuff when it comes to MLabs, what's going on there. We wish we could give you something a little bit more exciting than, hey, we ran into issues where the Vassal hard fork is kind of throwing a fork in our path. But we're doing our absolute best to get everything smoothed out. And we know that a lot of the other developers in the space are unfortunately experiencing the same issues, but that's kind of the trade-off of being on the forefront of a wonderful technology on a wonderful blockchain. So we know everyone's working really hard, and it's just kind of a matter of trying to get everything out there as soon as we can. On that note, we do have a cool user experience flow that I would love to show folks, just so that they can kind of get a sense of the application, what it's going to look like, display that we actually have something to show for our work. And so as you might have seen there for a split second, on this sign in button, that was a connect to wallet button, and then it registered by Nami wallet here, and then this is kind of the front page. We're going to be editing a little bit of things, but we have everything ready for the testnet with a nice banner letting people know, hey, this isn't real PMX or NFTs. And then we're going to go down here and change some of this stock imagery. Anthony and Josh are hitting up some of the cool collaborating partners. So instead of having this cool yet not as interesting stock photography, we're going to replace that with a bunch of cool images from our collaborating projects. And so one of the cool functions I do want to show, and I should have this all prepped and ready, is I'm going to hit this sign in button, and this can kind of show off in live action the Epic Online Services tool. So we'll come here. If you're already logged in with Epic Games and you click this button, it's going to bring you, and you'll see in the URL, it's going to bring you to Epic Games kind of URL and that side of things. And if you're already logged in, it will automatically authenticate it. If you aren't logged in, it will ask you to do so. I believe I'm already logged in. So as you can see in the URL, it's sending me over to epicgames.com. It's authorizing. I've already clicked accept and all that fun stuff on PlayerMint. And so then now you can see my kind of funny PlayStation name of Mimsy the Turtle is now popping up. And so that's able to connect to my PlayStation or my Epic Games account. Connect to my Epic Games account, and then from there able to display that as my username. And now I have my wallet connected, and I have my Epic Games account authenticated. So the system knows what wallet needs to receive funding based off of what authenticated account. And of course, here we have our leaderboard. Like I said, this is a prototype, so things are kind of in that stage where they need a little bit more interactability, and that's going to kind of come in the very, very short scene here. We just need to get everything tuned up on the Vassal side of things. But like I've mentioned in past videos, the front end and back end are pretty much complete. It's more so just about finishing up everything on the Vassal side of things, getting the Cardano transaction library functioning as intended, and then tying together the APIs from the front end to back end in Cardano transaction library, and making sure all of those work as intended. So here's kind of leaderboard page, all that fun stuff, your claim button, so you can claim your PMX, and we got a wonderful leaderboard. And then, of course, we have our marketplace page. Right now, we just have one kind of dummy NFT listed here that you can kind of check out and kind of see all the things that are going on. And I think one of our developers just kind of had a fun time adding this. Yeah.
Is it? You think it's Benjamin, or you think it's Ben Gaming? I think it's Ben Gaming.
I think it's gaming because I think the developers are like, we'll add in a little gaming focus, and so we're gonna be able to show off things. Of course, like it's metadata, it's policy ID, all that fun stuff. The history of ownership, which will be really cool. Properties. This is where you're gonna see that kind of metadata that you're more used to, and then of course, if there's any royalties associated with that, policy ID in compliance with SIP 2027, I believe. And then of course we have a nice mint page. Maybe I can even grab a image that I have on my desktop real quick here. Maybe I'll grab the PlayerMint logo, or no, I got a Purple Founder NFT right here. And so you can drag and drop images into here. I could set it, the Purple Founder. I can set a nice price for it. So maybe I want to make it, 10,000 PMX, whatever I want to do, how many editions I want to mint. So maybe I want to make multiple collections. And then we'll just say access to PlayerMint product, right? And so then if this was if this was all connected to the Cardano transaction library and can process transactions on the actual chain, you'd be able to come here, set your royalty, and then hit mint NFT. And from there, it's minted onto the blockchain, and you can even mint it directly onto the marketplace. So you mint it, and then it goes, and that's one smart contract, and then another smart contract queues to then list it for sale on the marketplace. So you can have a really cool flow of all these cool people that maybe have created some wonderful artwork, and they can instantly mint and sell their assets for PMX, which is a lot of fun. And then finally here, we have the profile. So this is where you're going to be able to see kind of, right, like what you see normally on a marketplace profile. This is where you're going to be able to see all the NFTs that you own that are in the connected wallet, and then all the NFTs that you have in your connected wallet that are currently in a smart contract up for sale. So that's really exciting. And then, of course, being able to edit your profile, changing your profile picture, your username. We're having a couple different thoughts about how the username structure is going to go if we want to just enforce it. So it has to be people's Epic Games usernames, or potential something fun with ADA handles, who we had a nice conversation with, or adding in a bio, personal URL, all that fun stuff. So I just kind of wanted to show this off as we're working on some really cool stuff. We're really excited about how it's all looking. We have a few UI changes that we're going to be implementing before we launch everything on the testnet. And once we get the testnet out there, we're going to have this kind of fun, gradual flow where we'll get it out there. Once it's out there, we'll be applying some updates to it, adding and increasing the feature set, changing the UI based off of community feedback. And then once we all feel good about the stability and user flow experience, and there isn't a whole lot of issues that people are running into, we'll be able to hit the button and go into mainnet. But we're feeling real confident, and we really appreciate all the work that our buddies over at M Labs are doing in order to make sure things continue to function as intended. That's kind of the big updates, of course, on everything. I am going to touch on Project Catalyst, of course. Project Catalyst is a wonderful crowdfunding mechanism that's on Cardano for all the projects to raise money in a equity and token-free financing way. And so we've been successful a good many times in the past, and it's been such a wonderful help to teams just trying to get into that point where they have a live product that can kind of be displayed in front of a lovely audience. And so right now in the current fund, which is Fund 9, we have 4 proposals submitted across 3 different challenges for a total request of $194.5 thousand. And this would go to a lot of fund development. And let's figure out what exactly that would be going into. The first one is the Web 3.0 arcade proposal. This is in the dApps products and integrations category, and we're asking for $85,000. And this is purely for the further development of PlayerMint to just kind of make sure that we have some funding in the bank or in the wallet in order to continue paying M Labs to get this product out there. Because as we mentioned, different issues regarding Vassal, and we don't want to point the blame anywhere but ourselves. We are, of course, the ones that should accept any accountability in this regard, but just so that we do have money to continue development in that regard, and we can ensure that we feel really good about the development and in our continual push to deliver the PlayerMint product. The other proposals that we have are a little bit more intriguing. They're a little bit more out there. So we believe in true decentralization of the network. We believe that we're all building on the same blockchain. And because of that, we should all be looking for different ways in order to give back to that blockchain. Because if we're all contributing to Cardano, no matter if you're a competitor or you're a collaborator, if we're all building tools that can then be used by everyone, everyone's going to be able to walk away with a larger benefit. So our thought with this is we're proposing a FT contracts or fungible token contracts for marketplaces into the Dev Ecosystem Challenge. This is essentially the idea that, hey, give us 75K. Once we have that 75K, we'll use a portion of it to complete the development of everything in regards to PlayerMint product, get it launched on testnet, get it launched on mainnet. Once we feel really strong about its mainnet usage and it's had enough battle testing, we will then go about making the smart contracts open source. So that essentially the big benefit here is that then we have a set of open source smart contracts that are functioning based off of fungible tokens, not just ADA. And that has big differences when it comes to UTXO management and min UTXOs. So the cool thing is then the final goal of this proposal, if it gets funded, would be to then go off to different projects in marketplaces and say, hey, we have these open source set of smart contracts. They've had the battle testing. They've been built by us in M Labs. Do you want to utilize these open source smart contracts in order to integrate them into your marketplace? So now all of a sudden you all can support fungible token transactions. And because all assets minted on Cardano are Cardano native assets, all of a sudden this could hopefully enable every single marketplace that wants to support any type of fungible token to NFT transaction, which is really exciting. So, whatever token is of interest to folks, the idea is that it can provide an instant level of utility to every fungible token on the market, which I think we can all agree having some more universal utility across fungible tokens is definitely something intriguing. Other than that, we've been working with a great company called Proofspace that does a lot of work in the game and the DID in kind of self-identity space. And so what we're going to be doing is creating a gamer DID with them if this proposal gets funded. That's all about essentially based off of past gameplay scores and history, such as amount of hours played, the number of games owned, and different information like that kind of builds up reputation as a gamer. We're essentially going to try to be able to create a DID that uses that information to determine how trustworthy a certain gamer is. And then based off of that trust score, projects like PlayerMint can use that in order to increase the amount of rewards that that user might earn within their play to earn system. So the idea here is there's a big issue in standard gaming, especially in a game Josh loves called CSGO, where there's different smurfing, which means you have a high level player that creates a new account in order to face off against lower level players and obtain more rewards just because they're able to rank a lot better. And then, of course, just standard cheaters. And the issue is in a lot of these games that we're playing, it's very easy to, if you get banned, you just create a new email account and then a new gaming account, and then you're back in the game. And there's nothing that can really stop you. And so the idea here is that these anti-cheat mechanisms are fantastic in the sense that once they detect a negative action, they work as a disincentive to try to get rid of that and then ban that person. And so our thought is instead of essentially disincentivizing people to complete certain actions, what if we incentivized them to complete positive actions? So if you have a single gaming account that you've put in a lot of hours towards, you have a track record of only using that account, we can then give you a slightly increased reward with the idea that if we're able to just go over that threshold, so it's more rewarding to be a trustworthy gamer that's had previous gaming experience than it is to be someone that's smurfing in hacking, we're able to kind of solve that problem, because the whole reason why these malicious actors are doing that is because it's more rewarding. They're making more rewards from an in-game asset perspective by doing those things. So if we can switch it so it's more rewarding to be that trusted gamer, we can kind of benefit everybody involved. Other than that, we have one more challenge in place, and this is or not a challenge, but this is a challenge setting. So this is not a proposal that we get any money for, but rather we teamed up with a couple different projects in the space to create a Gamers on Chain challenge. This effectively means that we would have a allocation of Cardano funds specifically dedicated towards gaming-based projects on Cardano. And so we would have 850K88 allocated to this challenge that, if voted in, will be live in Fund 10. And then that means that all of the wonderful gaming projects that generally release proposals into dApps and integrations challenges and Dev Ecosystem Challenge have their own niche that might be smaller in overall fund size, but it means that these projects have a space in which they're not competing against maybe more potentially core infrastructure, such as wallets and things of that nature, but still things that can onboard a massive amount of users into Cardano so that people can further use things like the core infrastructure being built out in dApps and integrations in Dev Ecosystem. So that's for a lot of the Catalyst stuff. We're having a lot of fun. Voting is going to begin next week, I believe, on the 8th or the 11th, I believe. So keep an eye out for that. Definitely use your ADA in order to vote. Josh, community events, what do we got going on?
Yeah. So let's first start. Every Tuesdays we have AMAs. We're trying to get collaborators to come on for every Tuesday. We've got, I think, one for next Tuesday. I'd have to talk with Anthony. It might be Leatherheads, or he might have switched it because we might be doing unwanted ones as well. Just depends. I'd have to talk with Anthony. But then every Thursdays we have trivia nights. Those are a lot of fun. We just got a new bot with that. It's working out really great. The new bot's even better than the last one. So we fixed a lot of the issues that we ran into in one of the trivia nights previously. We have some plans with trivia night to also do some more like PowerPoint style ones where they might be like, once every few months, where it might be like higher stake trivia, and it's going to be like focused on a specific topic, like blockchain or gaming or whatever it might be. And then every Friday we have poker night with Cardano After Dark, which they're great, awesome project that I'm good friends with one of the founders, Simon. He's an awesome guy. And we're just playing a little poker every Friday. Also, just so everybody knows, it's no purchase necessary to enter or win. We ask that everybody's 18 and up if they are participating in poker. And then we're trying to do giveaways throughout the week as well. In terms of other community events, we're going to be doing some Fortnite and some Rocket League events as well. But of course, as you guys know, we have a big chess tournament coming up right after this, and hopefully more in the future as well with AI scholars. And we are I think I'm echoing here, but we're joined by Alex from both AI Scholars and MerchFi. He's an awesome guy. I was very fortunate to meet him at NFT NYC, but I'll let him take the floor. I'll give you guys a marketing update as well after we hear from Alex. Or are we hearing from Alex afterwards, Aiden? Or
sorry, Alex, jumped the gun. We got just a few more slides that I wanted to show.
Okay.
So that's kind of the meat of things. Although I wanted to show off the wonderful community member of ours named JP that a lot of you probably have seen in the Discord posting wonderful things about his adventures through Mindtest. And so Mindtest is the open source kind of Minecraft-esque engine that we've been using for Cardano Craft Beta, which we have kind of a nice server that's up that people can join in and build whatever they want and have fun with. And then as soon as we have the capacity to, we'll be focusing on building out the actual Cardano and blockchain-based integrations of Cardano Craft. And so Mindtest is great in the sense that, as you all might have seen, that Minecraft recently banned NFTs, which was really bad for a lot of the NFT projects. Like
I can't believe they did that. That's come on. Yeah,
right. And then at the same time, they've been doing things around censoring chat messaging, and people are getting a little upset about some of the things that Minecraft is making. A lot of folks do blame it more so on Microsoft and Mojang, but you never know. And anyways, as wonderful as a game is, as Minecraft, as absolutely extremely wonderful and nostalgic as it is, and I'm sure everyone's had a very wonderful experience with it at some point or another. I know I have. Mindtest has really been a great solution from the start, in the sense that we completely avoided this issue by going for the open sourced version of it, going for a route that had more decentralized routes so that you could not have a centralized authority strike down some sort of ban against NFTs and other digital assets. And so we're able to continuously integrate with Mindtest. And I just wanted to show off some of the cool things that JP's been doing in it that can kind of show off some of the wonderful things that we want to do. I've already asked JP if we can have some of his assistance and help when we get into some of the Cardano Craft development stuff. So who knows, if we're lucky enough and he's free to help us out with some of his talents at the time when we're ready to do so, I'm really hopeful that we can kind of integrate some of this fun stuff. But as you can see,
he's been doing a great job with all of it. Keep going though. Keep going.
So one of the cool things that he's been able to do is he's been able to take images and even 3D model renders and figured out a way in which he could take a standard image and then inject that into Mindtest to then create a image based entirely out of blocks inside of Mindtest. And so he's been able to do that with the PlayerMint Purple Founder NFT, which is really cool here. As you can see, it's a little pixelated because it's all made out of these Mindtest blocks. He was also able to do it with the PlayerMint logo. And so you can kind of see that stretching across here in a mountain range. he's also been able to do some more interesting stuff in regards to having a live map system. And this kind of comes into some of the land stuff that we've been thinking about. A live map system that can be displayed on a website that shows live feed. I think there's probably a subtle delay, but a pretty much live feed of where different characters are on this map. And he can even show different ranges or areas that are owned by certain players. So when it comes to this idea of land maps that we might have seen in Cardano, not in Cardano Craft, in Pavia, in Clay Nation, this idea where you have this live land map where you can see what's going on, it's looking like it's going to be very easy for us to do a very similar thing. And that's all thanks to JP's kind of exploration of this work. He even added in the names of a mountain, some kind of key points in that area. And then as you can see, his character's right there. He even made it so if you hover over your character, you can see things like their health bar, their food bar, their oxygen level, all that cool stuff. So really cool stuff in that regard. And then I think I just wanted to show off this video really quickly so you all can kind of get a sense of some of the other cool things that he's doing that show off some of the, I guess, more visual arts of how we can integrate some of these cool images of NFTs and whatnot into the into Mindtest. And so as we can see, we got things like Hosky, we got the PlayerMint kind of logo spinning around. I believe that's a Makasi. Our logo, of course, a wonderful space bud in the green and purple founders. So really cool stuff in this regard. There's a lot of fun things that can be done in Mindtest, and I'm so glad that we had a community member recommend it to us. A really wonderful community member who saved us a lot of time and challenge and all that fun stuff. But anyways.
Maybe we can get some Merchify shirts in there on some of the Minecraft the characters, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, absolutely. And one of the other cool things that we've also discovered is there's a lot of open mods already that are super easy to integrate into these servers. And a lot of these mods are fully open source. So you can take existing mods, such as one is a skin file mod. And what you can do is you can upload skin files to this so that the server has a registry of skin files, and then you can make it so that only certain users can access certain skin files. And so with a simple modification, an API connection to PlayerMint, which might have your, we might be able to add in an OAuth system to Mindtest. Then all of a sudden we have your connected wallet, your Epic Games account, the NFTs inside of your wallet. And then the idea is hopefully we can create some sort of API request back and forth. So, you know, okay, hey, if this user owns this set of NFTs, they can have access to these in-game skins. So how cool would it be if we could get, you know, Clay Nation modeled skins or chilled Kongs or whatever people's favorite project is. Space Buds would be really cool. But other than that, a big shout out to JP. I know that he's in the chat here. The dude definitely deserves a lot of respect and really cool stuff for all the creativity and wonderful things that he does. What a wonderful person to have in the community. But other than that, I know we covered a lot of stuff and we've been talking for 35 minutes here. I know we're about to pass the baton to our special guest here, but I just wanted to see real quickly, in case we didn't answer everything, if folks have a question for us, we're happy to answer it. If you're watching this, because I know we get a lot of views after we post the video. If you're watching this in YouTube and it's not live, feel free to comment and we'll respond, or just head into our Discord. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. But yeah, I think other than that, I'm not seeing any questions pop up. So you know, why don't we reveal our special guest? Alex, how's it going?
Hey, Aiden. Hey, Josh. How's everybody?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Good. You know, Saturday, non-work day. Still interesting though.
Absolutely. Yep. So do you wanna give us a little bit of an overview on what you got going on in the world? I know you have a bunch of cool projects, and it looks like you have a shirt behind you that can kind of demonstrate both of them. I know that we have some fun chess tournaments coming up too. So I don't know if you just want to kind of go into it, or if Josh, you had any questions in particular you wanted Alex to answer here.
No, I mean, you know, I think just if you want to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing at AI Scholars, and then obviously talk about what you guys are doing at Merchify, and I don't know, maybe we can I don't know. Maybe there's a way we can share one of the pictures. I think you had sent me a picture via text message. So maybe I can send it over to Aiden and he can share it to everybody.
I got a lot easier solution. It's right behind me.
It's right behind you. Okay, perfect.
Right there. But yeah, I'll jump into it. So my name is Alex, also known as AI Scholars on Twitter. So way back, I think it was September of last year, actually. So maybe even longer than that. I wanted to foster basically critical thinking inside the Cardano ecosystem. And I thought, what better game to do that than chess? So I created a AI-based chess collection that I launched on Cardano, and we sold out really fast, which I did not expect. And I'm grateful for that, for the entire Cardano community for doing that. And since then, we've basically been hosting chess tournaments inside my Discord server. Prizes have been anything from, t-shirts to NFTs to a Hosky payout to Cardano payout and everything in between. That's the AI scholar side of my life. And then I also happen to have the Merchify side. Merchify is basically the first DApp on Cardano that allows you to connect your wallet to our DApp, pick any NFT that you want, and then merchify it or put it on various, drinkware, wearables, so on and so forth. So probably around last November, I had the pleasure of running into Grant. He's one of the co-founders of PlayerMint at a Cardano-centered event here in the city. And when he mentioned PlayerMint and what they're trying to do with the gaming industry and so forth, he's like, there's a lot of synchronizations going on here. Let's try to find a way to work together. And since then, I also had the pleasure of talking with Aiden. This was probably back in round 4 when I first met him.
Right.
And, I met him at another town hall, actually, a Catalyst town hall breakout room for the gaming section. And I just kept in touch with him. So probably a month ago or so, Grant was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool for PlayerMint and AI Scholars to do a tournament together? And since I happen to have a merchandising company, I can also probably throw in some custom merch into the prize pot. That's how all this came about to be. And the shirt behind me is actually one of the prizes that you can win if you win a tournament today.
Yeah, do you want to chat a little bit about the tournament? Let anybody know what's going on and how that's all going to function?
Yeah.
I think Josh.
Yeah, for Alex. Yeah. Or I'm happy to answer. We both can. Whatever works.
Yeah, I think Josh is more familiar with the breakdown of the specifics of first, second, and third place. But I believe first place gets a T-shirt, Cardano, and a whitelist. Yep. Second place gets a T-shirt and a whitelist, and then third place gets just a whitelist.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and what is that all going down?
Yeah, so that'll be at 5 p.m. Eastern, and basically the format's going to be like rapid style chess. So I think each side's going to have 10 minutes. So for each game, each opponent, you'll have 10 minutes for yourself, and your opponent will have 10 minutes. We'll see how many people we have. I think we're probably going to end up filling at 12 here. So I don't think we'll have to worry about, might even be less. So we won't have to worry about anybody extra on that side of things. If there's any ties, we'll have a coin flip. And yeah, I think that for the most part wraps it up. In terms of black and white, we'll also have a coin flip. So, whether you get the starting move or you're defending, you'll have a coin flip for that. I don't know. Am I missing anything, Alex?
No, that's it. Pretty straightforward. And
yeah.
I believe if there is, if there aren't I believe we were taking entries in terms of 12, right? So 12 people in the first cohort, 12 people in the second, and 12 in the third. If we get over 12 and you happen to be like number 13 or 14, what happens is you basically end up being a standby in case somebody does cancel.
Exactly.
And then if we do host another tournament, you're automatically part of the first cohort for the second one, let's say.
Yep. Yeah, and we might be hosting a second tournament because the numbers have been a little bit on the lower side, which is interesting. I don't know. But Yeah, no, I think I'm super excited about it. We do have to talk about how to integrate the bot in here because you sent me over the Discord info, and I for some reason I can't find it in their Discord how to download it. I don't know if it's on like Top GG as well or something, but we'll have to figure that out. But yeah, no, I'm super excited for it. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Um, I personally have been playing. I started playing chess. Well, I mean, I guess technically I started playing a long time ago, but like I haven't really played chess for months or no years, sorry, years. And like about 6 months ago, I started playing. It was one of my good buddies who got me into it. And then you saw, I don't know if you guys had watched any of it, but there was the world the chess what do they call it? I forget the candidates tournament. That's what it was, which was really, really awesome to watch. So it was like, I got back into chess like 6 months ago, and then I hear about all this candidates tournament, and then obviously Grant and you guys had talked about doing a tournament. And I was like, perfect timing. I mean, we've got it's one of the biggest chess events in the world that just happened. The world chess champion Magnus Carlsen just basically said he's not going to play. So now that's like huge news in the chess world. So I feel like chess is just like been popping off in terms of media, which is like really awesome and cool to see because it's like I don't know. When's the last time you heard about chess happening? Probably like Bobby Fischer. I don't know, the 70s.
Yeah, no, I can definitely attest to this. The chess community is a very niche community on the blockchain. I always tell people over and over and over and over again, it's very hard to find a chess player who likes playing online chess, and it's even harder to find a chess player who plays online chess and is familiar with blockchains and the technologies behind them, and specifically NFTs. But the ones that you do find are very dedicated and very loyal. I think, so I've been in blockchain for such a long time that I kind of see the nuances in people's different Discord servers and different community building and how they're approaching it. And what's really interesting is that, a project that basically blows up, for example, you'll see this massive drop-off rate in their Discord users, right? It'll be parabolic. It'll go up and then it'll go down just before the mint or the whitelist is done. And then, of course, you'll actually see the price action very familiar in this pattern. But in my server, it's been a very, very gradual growth. And I would even say sometimes it's flatline. And then the downtick has been very small. And then again, it starts to go back up. It doesn't move parabolically like that. So it's a very different community altogether, For the most part, none of them are there to like turn a profit, if you will, on the NFTs themselves. They just want to participate in the community and they just want to play a game and just have a good time.
Yeah. Which is probably what it's all about, right? I mean, I think sometimes with a lot of the kind of just art and utility based NFTs out there, part of the value you get out of them is just that you have something to participate in. Which is kind of half the fun is yeah, it's awesome to have the Clay Nation, but it's also and be able to flip that if you so want to, but it's also really fun to be able to just have that Clay Nation, rock it as your profile picture, chat with people about their pitches and where they're located at, talk about the traits that you like, fun stuff like that too. So it's part of it. Part of the value of having these assets is that now you're part of a niche community and you have something you've bought in, and now you have something that you can kind of contribute and assist the community in. And as new updates and announcements come out, you're able to kind of share in the love and glory of those announcements and be pumped about what's to come and all the things that are being built.
Exactly. And with our server, you don't even necessarily need an NFT to compete in the tournament. I sold those NFTs purely as art.
Right.
I don't want to wall off or gate off the community for someone who might not be able to afford the NFT for whatever reason, or if they miss a drop or anything like that. Just come in and have fun. I rarely talk about the perks behind the NFT because I don't want that to be a reason why people come into my community.
Right.
Come in because you want to have a good time, because you're competitive and you play chess. That's the only. And then from there, whatever happens. But it's a really fun community. And yes, like Josh was saying, though, the turnout for these tournaments doesn't tend to be, 400 or 500 people.
I wish that'd be awesome. That'd be like crazy. I mean, it might take for us, it might be like, 10-hour tournament, but that would still be awesome to have. And I think if we don't have that many people, it might be interesting to switch the format to like a round robin style. So if we have like 6 or something or less than 12 people, it could be fun to do like, everybody plays each other once, and then, we do that point system that we talked about possibly too. So just, I guess, maybe the format, although we already said what the format was, maybe we can switch it up if things are, looking like there's less people to sign up. But yeah, if you guys are watching and you want to sign up, just head over to the PlayerMint Discord and type in checkmate into the registration channel, which is in the tournament lounge. Looks like we just had a couple more people possibly registering here. Yep.
I just wanted to make a brief comment about something that Aiden said about the Vassal hard fork and how chess kind of teaches people this thought process, right? So I've hosted probably 5 or 6 tournaments now since the NFTs dropped. And what I've noticed is people have very different strategies when they're playing. One of the most common strategies that I've noticed, though, is not necessarily to perform better than your opponent, but wait for them to make a mistake, right? That you don't have to necessarily be better than the other side. You just have to wait for them to make this critical error that they can't come back from. And by virtue of them making the mistake, you win. So a lot of people tend to, kind of knock on Cardano sometimes for his development rate being kind of slow or meticulous or, methodical and just very, very, very well thought out before they launch all these features, before they throw it out the door. Well, for those wondering, the reason why our network doesn't go down, the reason why the network is stable, the reason why we don't have hacks is precisely for that point, right? And since Cardano is a critical thinking blockchain in general with critical thinkers inside of it, this is why things take time, right? But once they're rolled out, they're flawless.
It's game over. Yeah, and I think now is the perfect time. I mean, there's so many unfortunate exploits that are going down right now, and things like the Nomad Bridge hack. That is, of course, at no fault to Ethereum and Vitalik or anything like that. It's the fault of the coders behind the Nomad Bridge that, to my knowledge, even had an audit pointing out the security flaws, but unfortunately they didn't make the recommended security updates. It's just that same idea of, would you rather have your kind of money and the kind of controller of your finances, or the person that is building parameter changes into the decentralized financial operating system that your money lives on top of? Do you want that person to have to take a large, numerous amount of steps in order to deploy something that is so wonderful and amazing? Or do you want them to be able to just get it out a couple months quicker? And I think one of my favorite messages that I saw was in regards to the last Cardano 360 video, where someone said, no one's going to care if Vassal came out in July or October in 2022 and 5 years from now. They're going to just care about the fact that it came out 5 years ago, and it's absolutely just making all of the layer 1 transactions and fees associated with them just much more optimized for a great user experience. And I think that's a great point, is in the long run, people aren't going to care if there was a 3, 4, 7 month delay, as long as what was delivered works as intended and it has a wonderful impact. That's fantastic. Unfortunately, I will have to say that when you do have those delays, there is times in which the builders on that blockchain might need to kind of scrape by a little bit more. But I think all in all, the reward for all of that effort put in is absolutely worth it, because now all of these wonderful dApps will be able to launch with really great layer 1 scalability, which isn't something that you often see at the same time while having true decentralization and security in quality game theory. I mean, it's unfortunate to see what's occurring. And I think one of the things that isn't talked about a lot is that a lot of times layer 1 blockchain philosophy transfers into all of the applications that build on those layer 1s. And so because the community that follows that, like you were saying, Alex, are critical thinkers for a large part on the Cardano blockchain. And those critical thinkers aren't going to be put up with projects that don't follow the same rigorous idea of, we need to test things before deploying them to the network. And so because of that, I think what you end up, and of course, Cardano will absolutely have its unfortunate moments where someone deploys an application like what Slope did, where they have a wallet that delivers your seed recovery phrase in plain text without any encryption. I mean, the idea, I don't know how their security engineers kind of let that one fly, but they have more technical knowledge than I do on the situation. But ultimately what I'm getting at is I'm sure that at one point or another, Cardano will absolutely have its moment where a dApp built does get hacked or does function in a malicious manner. But my thought process, and I think a lot of the thought process of the people that are on this blockchain is that because we have a base of critical thinkers, we have a much stronger tendency to kind of naturally hold people to a higher levels of accountability. And on that same note, and then I'll stop talking about philosophy of blockchains. Is on that same note, as we might be able to think ourselves as kind of the critical thinkers in portions of the blockchain space, we also just got to recognize that we aren't the only critical thinkers out there. Just because we're on Cardano doesn't mean we are the critical thinkers that do research and whatnot, because there's many very, very hardworking developers across every single blockchain that put in a ton of effort in order to produce high quality applications. One of the core points of Cardano is interoperability. So if we see wonderful developers who might say, oh, hey, I used to be building on Ethereum or Solana or anything like that, we should, of course, be opening and welcoming them with open arms and inviting them to the blockchain, but then also looking to how can we collaborate with them on their blockchain? Is there any cool Cardano applications that would make sense to launch on Solana or Ethereum and back and forth? And that's why we're developing out cool bridges. I mean, we aren't, but the wonderful people at DC Spark and IOG are developing out things like the EVM bridges like Milkomeda. So of course, also not being on the high horse and saying, we are Cardano and we are the critical thinkers, but also recognizing that there's plenty of other critical thinkers across the entire blockchain ecosystem, and we're all trying to build something wonderful here. So we might as well help each other out. And I guess that'll be my little kumbaya rant for the day.
Yeah, well, I feel like just to add on real quick, I think despite all the bad things that these hacks and, mistakes and things bring, they also bring solutions to issues for the future. So like, you take something that happens like what happened with Nomad Bridge, and, they'll obviously fix whatever it is that caused the hack to happen. And that'll allow for other, cross-platform exchanges to, make that solution.
Right.
I mean, obviously it's just super unfortunate because everybody wants cross-platform, interoperability, and it just is unfortunate because now people are going to not trust, cross-platform exchanges like that. I don't know,
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough environment because in these bridges, the ultimate way in which they work is you have two blockchains, and then when you want to bridge them, essentially on this blockchain you lock your assets, and then on this blockchain you get a representation of those assets. But then I was watching Space Place yesterday, and one fantastic point they've made up is on this blockchain that you bridge the assets over to, you essentially have an IOU to the other blockchain's assets. But if all of a sudden these assets get compromised and they're no longer there, your IOU isn't worth anything. And so it brings up a lot of interesting questions in regards to what happens as a bridged USDC asset, like if is MAD USDC after it's been hacked. Does that create any differences in value stability of what the stable coin of USDC is because it's been bridged and now all of a sudden part of the bridge got hacked? And there's all of these sorts of interesting philosophical questions, but I think figuring out the best way in which we can create truly bridgeable assets where the assets really move from one blockchain to the another would be really cool. Of course, it's pretty fantastically hard to try to do that without having some sort of locking. But anyways,
no, you guys are right. Interoperability is the future. Look, I tend to think that the very nature of blockchain kind of makes that very difficult, right? So what Aiden was describing is what's called wrapped assets, when you get a representation of something as something else on another blockchain. And the reason why assets have to get wrapped is because since NFTs are non-fungible, right? They cannot be burned. They cannot be destroyed. Data cannot be destroyed on a blockchain. It can only be created. That's what causes that need for you to bridge things over. And even if we were, fully interoperable, where you could take like an ERC20 token and convert it magically into a CNFT itself, or ERC721, and convert it into a CNFT, it still doesn't explain what happens with the ERC20 on the Ethereum chain itself. As far as interoperability is concerned, no, I don't believe that, one chain has more critical thinkers than the other, but I tend to err that the Cardano ecosystem and people in here are a little bit more strategic in their decisions about how they interact with these blockchains. One basic thing that I've noticed right off the bat, which I asked myself, again, not to knock the Ethereum community, I think they're wonderful, and I think the product is fantastic for what it does. Why am I paying $300-400 in gas fees? This is a question that no one seems to be asking, right? No one, and these miners are getting away with, I'm sorry, but tremendous amounts of greed, in my eyes. So when people started to ask that question, that's naturally the number one reason why people kind of poured over to Cardano, which is, hey, there is an alternative where I'm paying fractions of a dollar or pennies to do the same thing that I'm doing on Ethereum. I'm not saying that they're not full of critical thinkers, but generally speaking, there's critical thinking and there's critical thinking with action. Right. And there's a difference between the two. And to what I was originally saying is basically, yes, things might take a little bit longer here, but once they roll out, there's a reason for that. And as I was saying earlier, to extrapolate on what you said, sometimes it's not being the first one to make the mistake, really.
Right. Be able to learn from other people's errors.
Yeah.
And I one thing that I will say about all this stuff, because I've heard a really interesting argument. I mean, the whole reason why Ethereum gas fees are so high is because they have a fee market, right? They don't have some sort of order queue like Cardano has, where once your transaction gets submitted to a node, it's kind of in a mempool waiting to be processed and included in the next block and for the transaction to occur. There is certain things with that queue where if you have a larger transaction, it's harder to fit it into a block because that block might already be full of enough data and so on and so forth. So it isn't a true line, but roughly it is essentially a line that your transactions stand in order to get queued. One of the interesting benefits, because I never really could think of any strong benefit for a fee market, is it actually incentivizes and pushes people to layer 2 protocols, because the idea being that you want the layer 1 chain to be rather lightweight and the lots of transactions can go through it. And so just kind of heard interesting ideas around, hey, if you have a fee market involved, it incentivizes everyone to go off and use more kind of higher throughput solutions, and it incentivizes people to use more of the layer 2 environments. And it also makes it so that from almost a DDoS attack perspective, where someone on Cardano could DDoS, and that's when we have things like MinUTXOs, but essentially the idea that someone could DDoS attack Cardano through just creating massive amounts of transactions. I mean, I think that's just kind of ridiculous to assume that someone would be able to do that constantly all the time, to the point where you'd have almost 100% blockchain capacity net, is a little bit silly. But I just kind of wanted to bring up the most interesting idea that I heard about fee markets, because I never really understand why anyone would include them, is that it pushes people to layer 2s, which is good for scalability solutions. So just to play devil's advocate, that is the one.
You're right. You're right. And it's good that we're kind of having this discussion, because hopefully somebody listening that doesn't know otherwise can kind of see the value proposition of both sides. I do think L2s have their space. Number one, in order to do that with Cardano, though, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Right. Exactly.
Free, right. So if someone wants to kind of burn the house down with them in it, then maybe they'll do that, but it's not going to be cheap, let me tell you, to try to pull that off. And as far as Ethereum gas fees are concerned, I do have a concern with this. One reason I bring this up is, if you remember, blockchain is about inclusivity, right? And it's about bringing everyone together, and I would say somewhat leveling the playing field, if you will. Ethereum is diametrically opposed to the I forgot what the Supreme Court called it, but it was basically that broadband is a basic utility, and you can't charge people for different speeds, right? So for example, at one point or another, internet service providers, I think in 2011, wanted to basically charge people different tiers to have their web pages load at different times. Right. But the Supreme Court shot that down, and they said basically broadband is a basic utility and you can't do that. You can't throttle PlayerMint from loading any slower or faster than google.com, for example. Well, in this case, it is the complete opposite of that, because as you will see, projects that do want to launch on Ethereum on a particular day, for example, that another big project is launching, will delay their launch because gas fees and gas wars. And I can't believe I actually, do we have the word gas wars for Cardano? Right? That is a term coined exclusively for that community. Now, again, I think it's wonderful. And I think once they do find a way of hopefully, integrating that proof of stake upgrade that they're going to do, I am optimistic about the future of Ethereum. But its current iteration, for example, especially with DeFi, completely blocks the little guy out, where if you want to play with $200-300 in a particular DeFi smart contract to just get an idea of what's happening on chain, the cost of that transaction is the same as your investment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or if not more, which is bananas. I mean, we all witnessed the other side mint.
Right.
There was 175 million in gas fees accrued. Are you kidding me?
Miners are happy. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's my point, though. You know what I mean? When you take that to its extreme, which is very rare, but I actually took a screenshot. It was 12,000 Gwei. That's madness. There is no justification whatsoever in my eyes for any protocol to operate that way, whether it's a free market system, whether it's the miners themselves, so on and so forth, whether it's, too busy. I mean, no. There has to be, a better way of doing things. And that's exactly my point, is that certain chains, and you're right, it's not only Cardano, third and fourth generation blockchains, basically built from the ground up with these solutions in place to try to address these issues. And they tend to draw a different crowd, I think.
Right.
But again, all crowds are fun, don't get me wrong. And yes, you're right. The future is interoperability. I just think that's the operative word, future, where I think a lot of these chains will find different ways of addressing these issues. You can't have it all, right? You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't be scalable, secure. And
and on that note of gas fees, I think one of the issues too is that when you live in an environment in which it costs $40, I mean, granted, it's not consistently $40. It might be $4 here, it might be $40 there. But when you're in an environment during a very hyped mint where gas wars is a word that starts to be used, the issue too is that I think some of the ETH NFT projects, some of their value, their initial sale price needs to be higher just to psychologically meet the sense that if I'm going to pay a $40 or $50 gas fee, then the NFT on Cardano, it's pretty usual to buy like a $40-50 NFT at mint. Whereas if that's what you're paying just in your gas fees, or even like a $10 or $15 gas fee, I think naturally it feels awkward for people to say, well, I'm buying an NFT and 10% of my cost is going to gas. It's not even going to purchase the NFT. And I think sometimes from a psychological perspective, you need to artificially raise the price of the NFT just from a psychological perspective so it makes sense. And so I think that's also an interesting.
I think from an economic perspective.
And from an economic perspective. I mean, I remember, and then I'll let you talk, Josh, because I know I've been talking for a while. But I remember I minted a VFriends, and I paid $300 in gas fees just to mint my VFriends because I really like Gary Vaynerchuk, and so I minted my VFriends, and I woke up at 4 in the morning, and then 6 in the morning, and 8 in the morning in order to do it, and I ended up having to pull the trigger on a $300 gas fee in order to get it. And I'm not upset about that, but I would have been a lot more happy if I only had to spend $295, right? And then go ahead, Josh.
Oh no, I didn't have anything else to add. I was just adding in that little bit. I mean, I don't know if we want to talk about the marketing stuff or if we want to, start moving towards getting people over to the tournament. I know I said that we were going to close registration, but just so everybody knows, the registration has not been closed. We're going to keep it open until the very last second here, just so we can get as many people as possible. And I've noticed that I think what's interesting is a lot of people will come in last minute, which obviously makes it harder for us, but hey, I'm happy to do it. So I would rather have as many people as possible, even if they're registering, 30 seconds late, even, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. This gave me an idea, by the way. You know why they give you free in-game stuff like skins? Like, for example, I signed up for the beta for Diablo Immortal,
Right.
because not because I wanted a skin, but because I love the game. But long story short, I also happen to get an in-game reward for doing so. That's probably the reason why,
Yeah.
so that they kind of have a better idea of how many people are going to be there.
Scalability. Yeah,
Starts.
they can meet demand. Absolutely. Yeah, that, and then on that kind of gaming note, I just noticed JP asked a question, and then Josh, we can hop into some of those marketing things that you're bringing up, and then close things out. This has been a really fun conversation, so we might as well let it ride. But JP asks a really interesting question. He said about these pure metaverse stuff and initial assets, and he's getting kind of at like land sales. I think a lot of metaverses will be ghost towns and lands not used. What do you all think? People just buying on the hype, may not be for all projects, but I think a majority. So kind of this idea that a lot of these projects, and let's just talk about the Cardano based ones, because I think that's what people will be most familiar with. But your Cardano, or not your Cardano, your Pavia, your Clay Nation, your who else is doing stuff? I know Boss Cat Rocket Club has some stuff going on, and there's a few others. I think Cardania could be included in there, but kind of the idea of, are these wonderful looking metaverse-esque environments that we're seeing? We haven't really seen one in full production ready interactability, but what's going to happen if you have 10,000 plots of land and no users, right? What does that look like? Is it going to be strange to walk around essentially a grid-based world where, as you walk by each plot of land, it's got some sort of asset like a house built on there, but no one's actually interacting with it, and it's kind of just like you have a bunch of display rooms. I know, for example, I brought up Cardania, and I think they're doing things a lot differently, where their land is large in part more like you get to harvest resources from it. So that might not have been the greatest example, but what happens in these environments where users own large pieces of land? And what do you all think is going to happen to these metaverse environments? Will they be ghost towns without users? Will they be full of people wanting to build cool experiences? I just kind of wanted to get your all's input on JP's question.
Josh, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think, I think the metaverse ideas in terms of like, it's just as a whole, I guess I'll just go from a general sense. I think particularly Cardano Craft, and I know there's other projects that are there. I think there's even another Cardano Minecraft project that might be building as well. But I think that the metaverse ideas that exist on sort of these, I really like them. I mean, I was even a fan before I even really went into the crypto space. Now I'm forgetting the name of it, because that's what I was trying to look it up. There's like a big metaverse. It has nothing to do with blockchain, but it's like they have some really top-notch developers. I'm forgetting the name of it though. But yeah, I've loved that idea of having sort of a metaverse, and I don't know, like, watching Ready Player One, things like that. And I think, that's where I think I picture like a lot of where PlayerMint can move to, and especially even involving Cardano Craft. I'd love to see a world where, we could have like, or, I guess a second world, right? Because it wouldn't be a world, it would be a second world where you can do all these fun things, and make all these purchases and I don't know, show off and have fun and do whatever it is that you want to do in a second world, right? And I think Cardano Craft could hypothetically offer that as a solution, and so can some of these other hypothetical solutions as well. I mean, I know a lot of these metaverses are very early stage, but I think that the sky, or the what do they say? It's the sky is limitless, or whatever. The the potential is limitless. Yeah, and I think that's my 2 cents. I love the idea, but I'm just I guess I'm very bullish on it and very hopeful.
Yeah, so if I had to give him my 2 cents, I don't know if anyone is familiar with basically the concept of consolidations, but that's usually what tends to happen in these spaces, right? So not to dox my age, but I come from a time where there used to be thousands of search engines, and then we went down to Google. There used to be a lot of ISPs, then we went down to the telecom companies, and even most recent example I can think of is the cannabis industry. There was a lot of companies, and then they all ended up basically consolidating with each other, either a merger, an acquisition, or a takeover, so on and so forth. I think the same thing is going to happen here if they have anywhere near a healthy user base. But to answer your question, I think if there's a ghost town, then I'm sorry, but you're going to have to take the L. Like there's no to it. That's just the way it is. No one's going to want to acquire a metaverse with 20 people inside, right? And no one's going to want to co-develop with it unless they have some like really great underlying technology. Perhaps there is a metaverse that their marketing department is not that strong, but they have some really great tech behind it, then yes. But ultimately, I believe that it's the brand partnerships that metaverse companies have that's going to drive the value here. For example, with PlayerMint and Epic Games, that is a massive user base to begin with. So their streets are not going to be empty. Let's put it that way. Even if they manage to onboard 10% of the Epic Fortnite community, that's
a lot of people. A lot of people. We'd
massive.
About 10%.
Exactly. It's massive. Whereas, I think there's two other companies that I definitely have on my radar, which is Terra Virtua, and Cornucopias. They have full Unreal engines. This is not like a pixelated environment, right?
Teams,
beautiful. Yeah. And I do feel like those two will probably either end up consolidating or having some sort of cross collaboration going on, because the feel of each one is very similar to one or the other.
I think my take on it is that having a plot of land inside of a grid is not enough in order to keep people interested.
Definitely not. Yeah, you got to have some sort of utility, something else there, like, you know what I mean, that makes it fun and interesting and really brings people in.
It's got to be more than like you build your house in some sort of 3D creation software, and then you port it into this world, and now you got your Tesla truck outside and your LED rims. They're just all fixed, stagnant assets that you ported in from Blender or whatever. My thought is it needs to be a game in which there's an entire experience, and having a piece of that land that can then contribute to that experience is just one of the facets. And it's kind of like, for example, like Club Penguin, right? Like, I don't know if anyone else played Club Penguin, but back in the day, depending on your account and like how much gold I believe you think you had, you could have a larger or smaller igloo, and based off of that you could have more of these like little fluffy pets, and the fluffy pets could have all these fun animations where they'd hop into cannons and shoot themselves out and do all this cool stuff. I think essentially what I'm getting at here is it needs to be it needs to be the in the same sense that, for example, for anyone that played New World, that the MMO by Amazon Games, right? Owning a little house inside of a town was not the core gameplay, but it made the core gameplay better. So how can we make it so that we create a decentralized game economy where all of a sudden we have this wonderful, rich world, and then I own a plot of land in a major shipping area where a lot of transportation through, let's just use Cardano as the example, where lots of people come in and out with boats, and that there's nearby really high quality mining reservoirs. And then you own a plot of land at the very front of where everyone gets off of the ship or the train, because there's mods for all of this stuff that we've already experimented with. You get off of the train, and then you own the stall that is selling armor, and you're right next down to a mine track that leads people into this really high value mining sector. And it's like you're just well positioned, and you own the plot of land where you can have a really great position to sell these assets, right? And so I think that's what it needs to come down to is that the land is just an opportunity, almost from like an in-game economy perspective, that you can now set up stalls in which people can buy and sell goods, hopefully with a fungible token. And maybe the really special versions of those goods can be represented by NFTs on the blockchain. And as long as you have it in your wallet, it'll be in your inventory. And so my kind of thought is if Pavia is, and this is at no way directed towards Pavia. So I'll just say if you're Pavia, if you're Clay Nation, if you're Cornucopias, and I know they all have different takes on this. If the game is just going to be like a house building sim on a plot of land that you have, I think that's where you're going to run into ghost towns. But as we're seeing, as I know I've seen a lot of, especially with Cornucopias, and I'm expecting to see out of Clay Nation and Pavia, is that there's alternative gaming environments where you can get involved in all of these other experiences, and then having a plot of land is just like having a home to come back to. So that's kind of my 2 cents on the issue. I know we're running a little bit long here, and we have some stuff that we need to prep for the chess tournament. So I don't know if Josh, you want to close it out with some of the marketing stuff, and then we can call it a day.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I just wanted to give I know people were asking about some of that in the chat, so I just want to give everybody kind of an update of where PlayerMint is from a marketing standpoint. We've obviously been working hard behind the scenes. I mean, it's kind of hard. It is difficult to market without, having something to market. So that is definitely an issue. But just so everybody knows, we have an awesome esports team. I think we've already mentioned the name before, but I'll just go ahead and say Zen. Zen is an esports team, and they we've got a really cool deal with them where they're going to help market a lot of PMX and our product and our marketplace. And we've got a great animation video, which we haven't released yet, but we've shown a sneak peek of what it looked like, I think, a while back. But it looks really awesome. In terms of the Zen stuff as well, we've got content creators and influencers and other pros and things that will be helping market our product, which is really cool and awesome to see. And then we also have other influencers and content creators outside of that that we already have connections with and conversations with. So those will be really awesome as well. We are also in talks with another production house about possibly doing a live action, sort of video as well that can help market, which is exciting too, because I think the animation is really awesome, but it would be cool to also have like a live action. And then I think we've got some other future collaborations. Obviously, we've got collaborations with Merchify. I mean, all this stuff can be used for marketing as well. And then I think we just met with Barracuda last week. I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess it was this week because it's still Saturday, but which is like a really cool link platform. So that'll be kind of something we haven't completely confirmed it, but that'll be another possible addition to like our Twitter bio, which, it'll just make, user experience a lot easier, and it'll be good for marketing. We've got, a major tournament that we were in conversation with a government, U.S. military government company, and they're very interested in doing a big major tournament with us, which is really exciting. We just kind of have to have a product first, and that might actually get pushed off to next year. So it just depends on when that'll happen. And then, I think in other ways, I mean, there's plenty of other ideas that we have. We just, we've got to wait on, like I said, a lot of it to come out in order for us to be able to ultimately afford a lot of the marketing as well, because, we require a revenue stream, and, obviously the majority of like our fund, our Catalyst funds go into development. And so that's, makes it difficult for us to really market, especially when we don't have a product. There's not really a reason to market a lot of things. So I just wanted to add that, just a little short bit. And the community engagement stuff, that's also, really awesome. And it helps market a lot of what we're doing. And we want to continue doing that as long as possible. And we'll also have a podcast coming out, hopefully by the end of the year as well. I know Alex wanted to share a couple things that he had going on with Merchify. So I'll let him take the floor here, and then we'll close it up.
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah. So we'll give Alex a chance to show off a really cool demo of Merchify, and then we'll close out and hopefully see some faces at the chess tournament. So yeah, Alex, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm just going to show you guys a quick demo of the site, which is live now. But Aiden, if you want to enable screen share for me for 1 second.
Yeah,
It's going to be under the security tab, not the settings tab.
Yeah.
Perfect. So the website is merchify.limited. You're going to bring it up. If you have an NFT, for example, that you want to merchify, you're going to click connect wallet. In my case, I have Eternal, so I'm going to hit connect Eternal, and it's already connected to my Eternal wallet. Click retry right off the bat. It's one of the bugs that we're working on right now, but you can select any NFT that's inside your wallet. So for example,
that's awesome.
Speak of Pavia Platts, but let's say I want like the purple founder edition. You'll pick the NFT that you want, and it'll just, this box will get a little bit darker. You'll go inside, pick whatever that is you want, size that you want, fill out the information, so on and so forth, and just hit review order. It'll send you to the confirmation page, and you're good to go. Pretty straightforward.
So cool. You can merchify any NFT you own. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I have a question. What are like the pricing differences between NFT merch and just regular custom brand merch?
So because brand merch happens to, basically be the same image over and over and over again, the NFT merch is obviously a custom one-of-one piece, right? So for example, if you look in the back here, this is AI Scholars. So that's the AI Scholars brand. And because I already have this brand prefabricated, replicating this is much cheaper than actually designing a one-of-one ape NFT, for example, because obviously only one person's going to order this, right? So the sunk cost is done for that. So the NFT merch is slightly higher than the brand merch because, again, the brand merch is mass produced or can be mass produced versus NFT merch is just exclusive to you as the owner. But as far as the price difference is concerned, I think it's about $5.
Oh,
$5 to $10. It really depends on what kind of technology you want integrated into the shirt.
Okay. That's nothing. Yeah. Okay.
No, and one of the cooler things that we do is if you want the option to actually be able to flex your shirt, if you notice inside the hem, inside the sleeve, we have a hem tag with a smart chip inside. So you'll just tap it to your phone and it will actually send you. In this case, it sends you to, our website, but I actually did this for someone else. And if you tap the picture, excuse me for 1 second, my arms in the way. Hold on 1 second, I'm sorry.
No, I know. I have one of these on my.
It'll send you to the NFT itself.
Oh,
yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
So yeah, if there are different use cases, and obviously depending on what version you want and how big it is, obviously a triple XL shirt is a much larger print than a small, let's say. That also does affect the price. But for the most part, one thing we were keeping in mind is affordability. I can tell you that most of our NFT t-shirts are priced lower than the standard brand merch that you get from other blockchain projects, for sure.
That's fantastic. And it's cool because it's almost as if, we were talking a little bit earlier about like universal utilities, and to talk about universal utilities, you're essentially giving every single person that has an NFT the capacity to then turn that into a t-shirt, which is really in an easy way. And of course, that's just really cool in the sense that you own an NFT and now you all of a sudden through Merchify have the utility to turn it into a piece of merch, which is really, I don't know. I think that's a really cool idea. And I really love any type of project or protocol that makes it so that universally assets across the blockchain industry have more utility, whether that's a decentralized exchange for fungible tokens or an NFT marketplace for NFTs or lending protocols or really wonderful merch-based options like what you all are doing. So what a fantastic way to close things off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And not only that, but we also accept crypto. So we're not forcing anyone to pay in USD. Yeah. So if you happen to have, Cardano and you want to pay with Cardano, that's fine with us. So we tend to keep the value back in the ecosystem. You know what I mean?
Right. That's so cool. Yeah. mint an NFT on Cardano, and then use some ADA to mint yourself a Merchify t-shirt. That's so cool.
Oh. But yeah, thank you so much for letting me demo the product.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for being willing to. Yeah, absolutely. Great. Yeah, but I think other than that, unless anyone has some final words, I think we've been going at it for about an hour and a half. I think we talked about a lot of fun stuff. Everybody was able to get a good update on the various projects that we're all involved in. And I think with that, we can kind of close it out unless anyone has some final words they want to share.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me to the town hall. Thank you for always seriously responding to my DMs, Aiden, and being involved in the entire Cardano ecosystem. From the day that I came across PlayerMint and its team, they've invested in the communities, the building of the chain, the functionalities around it. I mean, you guys are here to stay. You guys are here to build, and you know, it's amazing. It really is an amazing team. And I actually had the pleasure of meeting Josh IRL, and he's also a wonderful person, wonderful character. Aiden is the only one that I have yet to meet. So hopefully I'll see you at CNFTCon or Rare Bloom. You're the last one, man.
Hey, me and you both. I haven't met Aiden in person.
Josh.
So yeah.
Josh and I have played video games together. We've of course worked together. We've jammed on a lot of stuff together, but no, Josh and I have never gotten the pleasure of meeting up either. And so I'm hoping that we can get out the whole PlayerMint team to CNFTCon.
Yep.
Yeah, because it just seems like there's going to be such a wonderful amount of people there. Just the team at Buffy Bot that are kind of organizing all of it are, of course, wonderful characters that have contributed so much to the space. So how can we not show up there, and especially if we're trying to be as involved in the NFT space as we are? And then sweet, we can all meet up and have a good old time and get to know each other IRL, which is of course so important. So yeah. I think that's a great way to end it off. Hopefully we'll see you all at CNFTCon. I know I'm going to do my absolute best to get there. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Alex, for coming on. We really appreciate the constant support and all the wonderful things that you're doing. Like you said, the Merchify brings utility to anyone with an NFT on Cardano. So thank you for being willing to put that forth, and thank you to everyone watching and listening. This has been PlayerMint Town Hall number 19. We'll see you at the chess tournament, and please have a beautiful rest of your day. Goodbye, y'all.
Okay.